Welcome to the 2017 Softball Manitoba Hall of Fame induction ceremony from the Canadiens in Portage-la-Prairie.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's induction ceremony. This evening we're here in Portage-la-Prairie to induct 8 individuals and 2 teams into the Manitoba Softball Hall of Fame. The induction will be done in 2 parts here tonight. During the first half, we'll induct the 5 individuals on the stage and 1 team. And then after a short intermission, the 3 remaining individuals and the second team will be inducted tonight. Now, of course, you can read at length about the accomplishments of our inductees in the program, and we're also going to attempt to focus on some of the highlights and provide a little anecdote or two that may not have been included on the museum plaque. Now, many of you here tonight may have seen the awards that are presented to the inductees. The individuals and teams receive a large stained glass award in the shape of the province of Manitoba, while each team member will receive a smaller stained glass award in the shape of home plate. Now, these unique awards were designed specifically for the Hall of Fame by Crafton Stained Glass Center in Winnipeg. Inductees also receive a certificate to commemorate their induction into the Hall of Fame. In addition, permanent plaques with photos and text about the inductees have been produced. They will soon join the present members in the Hall of Fame gallery located here in Portage-la-Prairie. Laminated copies of the plaques can be ordered. Order forms are available at the memorabilia table or from the Hall of Fame board. Laminated copies are $38 if you pick them up in Winnipeg. They are $50 if they have to be mailed out. We will do our best to keep the ceremony moving as quickly as possible, so we're not really going to be delaying it. If you want to take a picture of an inductee for a photo, please be ready to do that as we read their bio. And anyone who wishes to take a photo of an inductee, please be near the stage with your camera ready, and don't feel that it's rude to come closer to the stage while we're kind of going through their biography. Murray Blight, President of the Hall of Fame, and Gord Woolley, Vice President and board members, will be assisting with the awards presentation. The inductees are already on the stage, so we will now proceed with the individual inductions. Now, first, the criteria. Any nomination for a long-term accomplishment must cover a minimum of 2 years, and the maximum being 6 years. Our individual inductees will remain on stage until all the presentations are completed for the first go-round, and our team inductees are on the right-hand side of the stage. We will be introducing them individually, and they'll come up on stage with their plaque when we call their name. Our first inductee tonight, most people in the room will know as Mikki Cochrane. Mikki Hansen, the name now. At the age of 7, Mikki began to play softball here in Portage. By 14, she was selected as a pitcher for the Manitoba All-Stars at the Western Canadian Championships in Winnipeg. At 15, she helped Team Manitoba win bronze at the Canada Summer Games in Saskatoon. 16 and 17, she was helping Winnipeg Obsession win bronze at the Junior A Nationals in New Brunswick. In 1993, at the age of 20, had a career year in NCAA Division II at UND, averaging 9.8 strikeouts for every 7 innings pitched. Quite the accomplishment. Her fastball was clocked at 62 miles an hour. Her 140 strikeouts for the year was a school record, and 9 of her 14 victories were shutouts. Her ERA, a modest 1.74. She was also the team's top hitter. Didn't stop there. .440 batting average. A few years later, she was named All-American and was the first softball player to be inducted into the UND Hall of Fame. She led the NCAA Division II schools in strikeouts, still holds the record for the lowest ERA of 1.26 in a single season. Then moved on as an assistant coach with the University of Bismarck, head coach, Dakota State University, Madison, South Dakota. Today, still coaching her 9-year-old daughter's team in St. Francis, Minnesota. In the summer of '95, pitching for the Bonnevitel Lightning, she was selected All-Star Pitcher for the Canadian Senior Women's Fastball Championships in Burlington. Remarkable given that the team was ranked 9th out of 14 teams. In the mid-90s, at the Senior Women's National Championship, she was selected All-Star Pitcher every single year. 1998, 2000, and 2004 named MVP of the playoff rounds. And when Coach Bob Turner reflected on his 1997 loss at the Nationals, he decided to protect Mikki for the crucial game. In the round robin, he pitched Lynn Brown and Nicole Anik. Then in the first 2 playoff games, he gave the ball to Mikki, who delivered 2 successive wins, qualifying the team for the championship final. Once again, he turned to Brown and Anik, but then in the 6th inning, clinging to a 2-1 lead, reliever Mikki struck out the side. At the top of the 7th, the team would rally for 7 runs before Mikki put the other team away. She was declared MVP for the tournament and named to the tournament All-Star team. A remarkable career for one great softball player. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Mikki Cochrane. Her award presented by Murray Blight.
Not very good at this, so bear with me. Just want to say, start by saying thank you for this honor. It's so amazing to see so many teammates and coaches and competitors that I'd played against here, and it's just really a lot of fun. I'd also like to thank all the other honorees. Thank you to all the organizers, the people who have set up tonight's evening and have done this for a lot of years. It's very meaningful for us to all be able to get together and reminisce, and such a special night. Softball's been a big influence in my life. I was able to start being involved in softball by watching my mom. Then I was able to play until I was 35, which is, wow, a lot of softball years. You really don't realize what you have until you don't have it anymore, and it's been a lot of fun and definitely miss it. Softball put so many amazing people into my life. Teammates, and I see so many of them here, teammates from when I just started and teammates from when I ended, coaches, managers, competitors all across Manitoba, Canada, and the US. So and I run into these people all the time, and it's a lot of fun. I was able to play softball with my mom and my sisters. My dad was my pitching coach, and now I understand how he got so frustrated with me. I was able to play softball in college, and then I wasn't ready to be done when college was over, and a uniquely Canadian experience, I got to come back to Canada and play, and that's not something that people in the US get to do. So we're very fortunate here that we're able to have those opportunities. I had a softball family. I want to thank the Turners. Thank you to everybody. I just thank you to all the organizers and everybody who gives kids opportunities to play. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mikki. Our next inductee is Randy Dutiaume. And after playing minor ball in Winnipeg's Weston Community Club, he went on to the Midget Westerns in Brandon with the Weston Midget 17-year-olds. In 1980, with the Chalet Jets, he went to the Midget Westerns in BC, and in 1981 to the Canada Games in Thunder Bay. In 1983 to 85, with the Winnipeg Internationals, he played in the 1984 ISC Finals in Allentown, Pennsylvania. In 1985, he was named MVP as shortstop at the Canadian Senior A Championships in Waterloo. In 1986, he filled in as a catcher with the Portage Diamonds at Summerside, Prince Edward Island Canadian National Championships, and at that event, he was named the All-Star Catcher. After spending the off-season in 1987 playing fastball in New Zealand, he would return for the regular 1987 season to play for the Saskatoon Rempel brothers, who won provincials and the Canadian Men's Senior A Championships in Calgary, where he was named MVP as shortstop. And that team is inducted into the Saskatchewan Softball Hall of Fame. 1987-88, he would play with the Saskatoon Rempel Brothers, then move on for a couple of years with the Portage Diamonds. And during these years, he was repeatedly recruited to play at the Canadian National Senior A Championships. His teams won 2 championships in Winnipeg. In 1996, gold at the Western Senior B Championships with the Red Dogs. 2002, gold at the National Senior A Championships with the Band Brothers. When you go through newspaper clippings, you'll find phrases like Dutiaume homered, doubled by Dutiaume, threw home to get a runner, homered for 2 runs, belted 2 home runs yesterday, another home run, another home run. A teammate recalls Randy's consistent hits and says they could never get him out at the Fargo and Grand Forks tournaments, in which the team would lose their first game and then went undefeated, defeating top 10 world-ranked teams. One of his teammates concluded there was no better fastball hitter than Randy. Definitely a gifted athlete, a credit to Manitoba. Fastball, Randy Dutiaume, the award presented by Larry Dewis.
Appreciate it. Will I take that with me? Oh, thank you. Thanks, Mom, for writing that. I don't remember a lot of this stuff, but I appreciate whoever wrote that and want to thank the organizing committee for bringing me up here, especially Larry Dewis and Greg Bouchard. I wouldn't be here without them. Just briefly, I know we're under the gun for time, so I want to speak shortly because I know Ferdie's probably going to take up a little extra. But it was kind of funny how I got involved in ball. I started in my front yard in Principal Sparling School. We played a game called Screen, and there was 3 portions of the screen. You had to get in the middle to be a strike. Tried to hit it over the fence. Loved swinging hard and loved hitting the ball over the fence, and that's kind of how I started. We played another game called Tin Can. We loved when our dads would change the oil in their cars. We'd go get the tin cans and make sure you had the can up so the oil wouldn't leak all over your playing surface. Yeah, who would have thunk it? A guy from West End making it up to the Hall of Fame. When we played, we certainly didn't think about making it to the Hall of Fame. We just played because we absolutely loved the game, and I love playing fastball. One of the best things. It's pretty much everything I've got in my life today is because of it. Had good time with our premier in New Zealand, and I thought I had the only story of him getting hit off the head with a ball by one of his famous straight pitches. I heard it happen a couple times. And yeah, so I kind of came to fastball by accident. We played back in the day, there was actually fastball in schools. We played fastball in school, and one of the umpires, Larry Blanchard, saw me play, and I happened to be pitching that day. I wasn't very good, but I could pitch. And the team from Weston needed another pitcher to go to Brandon. They only had Bouch, so I went and pitched. I didn't pitch very much. Bouch is so good, he did all the pitching. I just hung around. I got to play a little bit, probably made a couple errors, but they asked me back the next year. Dwight Newman saw something in me, and I started playing, took it a little bit more seriously, and thank goodness a coach, Reed Burse, had saw me, ended up teaching me a little bit more about fastball, and that's when I sort of took off. Ended up going to Saskatoon, where I made my hay and won the Canadians that year. But yeah, I just wanted to thank most of the players. A lot of the players you see here today had good times with them, lots of good stories, and then some of my coaches, Bud Singbell, Arnold Asham, Reed Burse, Barney, and Pete Clark from Saskatoon. Wouldn't be here without those guys, and I just wanted to thank everybody for being here tonight and nominating me and the organizing committee, and I really appreciate it. Thanks. Have a good night.
Randy Dutiaume, ladies and gentlemen. It's definitely a strong Portage flavor to the induction ceremony here tonight. And our next member going into the hall tonight is Rick Elias. Now, Rick spent his early years playing baseball, But in the late 80s, at the age of 17, he was given the choice to miss 5 days of school legitimately if he would fill the vacant position of catcher at the provincial high school championships. So jumped at the opportunity to miss school to try out a new sport. The team finished third. He was named the MVP, and he was hooked on the game. Loved it because he said fastball was more challenging and quicker. Said the ball might travel at the same speed, but there were shorter distances between the bases and the batters. As well, the pitches rose rather than declined. He caught on to that very quickly. And then joined the Portage Diamonds in 1990 when they won provincials and qualified for the Canadian Nationals. In 1991, it was off to Seattle, where he would bat .460 to win the Northwest League's batting title. And his team won the ISC championship. He was named first team All-American. In 1992, it was off to Auckland, New Zealand, where he was named to a team there, a provincial team. 1993, he was with the Vancouver Junior Money Mart team that won the ISC championship, and he was named an ISC Regional All-Star. Later that year, he would help his team win silver at the Canadian National Junior Championships. 1994, with Money Mart, he was named the Northwest USA Canada All-Star. His team won gold at the Canadian Junior Nationals. In 100 games with 4 teams, he had a .630 batting average, 39 home runs, 7 home runs in 9 games at the Nationals, where he was named the top hitter and top catcher in the entire tournament. Meantime, the team won championships at the Canadian Junior Nationals and the Worlds, and he was also named to the All-Star team at those events as well. The team of the year is in the BC Softball Hall of Fame. Stayed out on the West Coast in 1995 with the Surrey Ravens. That team won bronze at the Canadian National Senior A Championships and finished in the top 10 of the ISC rankings. 1997, it was the Victoria Legends. Did a lot of traveling on the West Coast. He was named the MVP after hitting 2 home runs and scoring the winning run in a 5-2 victory over Owen Sound to win gold at the Canadian Men's Senior A Championships. At that event, they had hitting derby celebrations, and he hit 14 dingers in 3 rounds. And meantime, at the ISC Worlds, he was named an All-Star. The team won second place. In 1998, played with the Dector Pride from Illinois. Was in the winter of 1999 that he was off to Japan and Venezuela to play. The summer of 99, he would return to the Portage Diamonds, hoping to play in the Canadian Nationals, but it was not to be. In February, he herniated a disc at work, which would end his fastball career. But certainly the legacy remains. A major contributor to team championships, brought fans excitement, and lived a dream just because he wanted to miss some school. Rick Elias, ladies and gentlemen, presenting the award is Larry Dewis.
Thank you to everyone that's here. I didn't know most of that made it into the bio, to be honest with you. It's a true story, a real accident. I want to thank the committee, Larry Dewis for nominating me, the committee for, well, probably having a few more drinks than they should have and making me go through. I want to thank the Portage Collegiate, that's where I started. Then I went to Dakota Plains, played the same year. Orwell Smoke, Donnie Smoke, they're here tonight. I really appreciate them. Without them, I'm not here, because I don't play any fastball then. I've had a lot of great luck, a lot of great teammates, a lot of guys here that I played with and against. I want to thank my wife for keeping me going, my family for dealing with me after I'm done. Thank you to all the sponsors. I assume I got to go next so Ferdie could go last. You guys all know why. I'll keep it short. Thank you very much.
Rick Elias, ladies and gentlemen. Our next inductee is Dave LaFrance. Ombr, as his teammates would address him. Loved fastball. Started with Little League. Practiced constantly in the ballpark across the street. Would start by serving as bat boy for the men's team. In 1965, at the age of 14, the Pine Falls Canadians were short a player. So he substituted and became a regular. A couple of years later, as bat boy for the Canadians, won the provincial intermediate A championships. He was hooked. Then he would move on as a catcher and shortstop for the Canadians in the Northeast Fastball League. They won several league championships and another intermediate A provincial championship. In the late 70s and early 80s, he was an outfielder with the Winnipeg Colonels. Then he would be off to play with United in New Zealand, would return to play third base with the Vancouver Thirsk Seniors. After his league batting championship season with the Colonels in '81, the Selkirk Steel Kings would select him for their trip to the Canadian Nationals in Ottawa, where he homered in the bottom of the 15th inning to win a game. Continued to garner testimonials of excellence. 1982-83 Alberta Major Fastball League All-Star. 1984 top hitter in the Regina Invitational Tournament. Also selected All-Star third baseman in the Joe Pagan Hawaii Tournament. 1984-85 Midwest Fastball League All-Star. 1986 Canadian Amateur Softball Association Nationals leading hitter with a .500 batting average. Named to the All-Canadian team as a third baseman, and was the only player who played all 10 games of the tournament. Later, he would help Team Canada win gold at the Pan American Games in Indianapolis. In 1990, he retired from active play, married, started coaching, and in 2007, he would help his daughter Jill make the Canadian national junior team as a pitcher. Talented, skilled, and competitive, he delighted fans and frustrated opponents. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause for Dave LaFrance, award presented by Larry Dewis.
Thank you, Ryan. The other day, I was thinking it was a bit ironic that the Manitoba Softball Hall of Fame banquet was going to be in Portage-la Prairie. In the winter of 1981-82, I was getting ready to move to Portage-la Prairie for a job and play a little fastball, when I got a phone call from a tall pitcher from Portage-la Prairie. He wanted to know if I was interested in going to a ball tournament in Hawaii with him and a team from Calgary. But that's another story. I'd like to start off by thanking my nominator, Howard Kitchen. My wife, Diane, and I met Howard and Lucy through girls softball and have been good friends over the years. I'd also like to congratulate the other inductees and thank Softball Manitoba for this evening and event. Other people I'd like to thank are Donnie McDonald, Glenn Hibbert, Jeannie Lazaruk from Pine Falls, who encouraged me to play for the men's team, Shorty Lowen and Grant Skinner, who gave me the opportunity to play in Winnipeg for the Colonels, Keith Vincent and Whitey Haley, who sponsored and coached me in Calgary, and of course my wife Diane, who supported me through my playing and coaching days. I had the great fortune of growing up across from the ballpark in Pine Falls. My brother Paul and I both started out as bat boys before moving to the men's team. Our mom and dad followed us around the province, watching us in league games and single knockout Sunday tournaments. Can you imagine that? Single knockout tournaments. Thank God for the beer gardens. In 1978, I got the opportunity to play in Winnipeg with the Colonels. It was an exciting season, and I led the league in strikeouts, which would have been great had I been a pitcher, but there was work to do. Pete Clausen and I got the pitching machine out and hit and hit and hit. We both became pretty good hitters. I got so good, I was voted most improved player 2 years in a row. Does that mean you were... That's it. Okay. Yes, playing fastball in Manitoba was a stepping stone for a few national titles and a Pan Am medal. But most important is where I met a lot of great people and made a lot of good friends. If you're sitting out there and thinking, I know that guy, I used to play against him, please drop by to our table and say hello. Again, thank you, Softball Manitoba, for this wonderful award and evening. And Brian, I often think, what if you would have stayed in Alberta and I came back to Manitoba? I could have been the premier.
Thank you very much, Dave. I know a few people have already made a few comments on our next inductee, Ferdie Ellison. This is a true story, actually. I always remember the first time that I ever sat down and talked with Ferdie, or the first time we had a sort of a face-to-face conversation, because our kids were on the same hockey team, and Greg Waldvogel came up to me and said, "I dare you to go ask that guy if he knows anything about baseball." So I did, and it's about 90 minutes later that the conversation was over, and I knew a lot more about baseball after that conversation was done. Ferdie was a dedicated athlete throughout high school. He always strived to be the best that he could be in every sport that he played. His passion for fastball began when Wayne Richardson gave him an opportunity to play for the Albion Hotel Canadians of the CMFL in his hometown, right here at Portage La Prairie. He was 15 years old. Ferdie always had a lot of confidence, competitive nature, and he picked up the game fast, learning from the veteran players. The teams in the late 70s won 3 championships and many tournaments, and then in 1980, the Canadians turned to slow pitch for a year where they would represent Manitoba at the Nationals in Moncton. But the very next year, it was back to fast pitch, Senior A this time, with the resurrection of the Portage Dodgers, and this is what would really jumpstart Ferdie's career in fastball at the top level of competition. Was a key player on teams like the Portage Dodgers, the Winnipeg Internationals, the Portage Diamonds, the Winnipeg Red Dogs, the Manitoba Landmark Alliance. These teams won 9 provincial championships between 1982 and 2002. He would attend 3 more nationals as a pickup. In addition, he's played in 13 ISC World Tournaments for the Portage Diamonds, the Saskatoon Rempel Brothers, the Minot A's, the Winnipeg Red Dogs, Minneapolis, the Fargo Black Knights, and the Manitoba Alliance. Also would play in 2 Western Canadian Masters Championships representing Manitoba, winning bronze in Saskatoon with the Toledo Masters. Ferdie played center field and shortstop, but added catcher to his repertoire out of a team need in the mid-'80s. This versatility, combined with longevity, made him a highly sought-after commodity in years to come. In his final season of competitive fast-pitch softball, he caught 64 of the 65 games for the Manitoba Alliance, would also contribute by being a solid hitter, was named to all-star teams consistently throughout his career. His intensity and athletic ability led to him making highlight reel catches, but it was his strong, accurate throws from center field and the outfield that spectators and players alike would marvel at. Ferdie could throw on a rope. Following his playing career, he would turn to coaching, both the senior men's with Fargo and his daughter Shay's teams in Portage, as well as the Winnipeg Lightning. Ferdie gave back to the game. His passion for fast-pitch softball at the elite level led him to spend 18 years as a committee member with the International Softball Congress, was also a committee member with the ad hoc group that helped develop the lighted softball diamond that we all enjoy now at Rotary Republic Park here in Portage. When in conversation, it doesn't take long to figure out that Ferdie has an extreme passion for fastball. Understandably so, because he lived it playing for 30 years and coaching for almost a decade. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Duas will present the award to Ferdie Nelissen.
All right. I'll try not to keep you too long. Well, firstly, good evening. Thanks for coming. It's a tremendous evening. I truly appreciate all the support, and I know the other inductees. I'd like to say congratulations to all the other inductees. What an honor it is for me to be going in to the Manitoba Softball Hall of Fame with such an incredible class of talented athletes, dedicated builders, and tremendous teams. It truly is a great honor, and I feel I am so fortunate in so many ways to be in this position. Fortunate to be inducted with a very special group of Portage Diamond teammates. 1986 was special to us. We weren't expected to win. We probably overachieved. And to be going in with three Diamond teammates that I've had over the years, and Rick Elias, Terry Wallen, and Randy Dutiaume is special. Mikki Cochrane and I go way back. We actually work together. She's a special lady, and you can see her passion for the game. It's really a great honor. Dave LaFrance, I was talking to Dave when he came up here. Our 1986 run, part of the dint that was put in that run was by Dave. We had a tremendous game going with the defending Canadian champs, which Dave was playing third base for. And we lost, I think it was in the bottom of the 10th. But guess who knocked in the winning run? 1-0. Dave LaFrance hit a single, we lose. He's a great ball player. And he's in Manitoba. Congratulations to the, and he won back-to-back Canadians with that team. And that year was one of them. Congrats to the Smitty's team, which has a real Portage flavor. To Les Newman. I was here this afternoon putting some stuff up, and Les Newman, for most of us, if you don't understand, if it wasn't for Les, a lot of the ball leagues that were going around, fast pitch leagues, wouldn't have happened for us to play in. So here's a guy that, he's being inducted tonight, and I'm leaving here after putting this up, and he's still the last volunteer in here working. He's still putting up, checking the names, making sure everything's in place, because that's the kind of guy Les Newman is. That's incredible. When it comes to thank yous, it's very hard to find a spot to start, but I'm going to start with a guy that was special to me, Wayne Richardson. As we called him, Snoop, and he was taken away from us way too early. He gave me a chance. Barry Sadler brought me out from the high school team, and Snoop just gave young guys a chance to play the game, and he didn't just give us a chance to play the game. He mentored us. He drove us everywhere. He picked us up. Me and Darryl Henry would be sitting on our suitcases in a back alley behind our house waiting for him to pick us up. And he just nurtured us. And he was the guy that formed the first team that I ever went to a Canadians with, the Dodgers, in 1982. And it just fed a passion for me. And I know Willie's here with her family, and you know how much he meant to me, Willie, and I miss him greatly. Larry Dewis and I had a chance to go down. Wayne, unfortunately, like I said, left us way too early, and he was in Boundary Trails. And Larry Dewis and I went down to visit him, and he died shortly after that, probably because I talked him to death. But at the end of the day, we had phoned Alvin White, who was a teammate of ours and of mine, and we got him on a teleconference. And we started telling stories, old ball stories. And Wayne couldn't speak anymore, really, but he was smiling, and there was tears rolling down his eyes, and it was such an emotional moment for all of us. And his sisters came out to us after and said, he hasn't laughed in 2 weeks. And I don't think it was but 2 days later that we lost him. A great softball guy. Thank you to all the great sponsors, organizers, and coaches I played for. Snoop was the first one with the Canadians and the Dodgers, but there was guys like Gary Johnson and Arnold Asham with the Internationals and Asham's Curling Supplies. Larry Dewis and Brian Pallister started our Diamonds teams here. They went out and found the sponsorships in town. We had such great local support. It was unbelievable. And there's nothing better than playing at home. There really isn't. And then, of course, I left home because we didn't have the team anymore. And to guys like Bliss Littler and John Keegle from Minot and Fargo, they gave me a chance to keep playing elite ball, going to ASA major national championships, American Softball Association, which I'd never been to. Ricky has played in those, and the International Softball Congress, which is a passion. It's the best tournament in the world. Brian Rempel and Mark Vaneuf with the Red Dogs, they started something up, and we actually won a Westerns, and then we went to a Canadians and had a great run. John Peters in my last year, 2002, 45 years old, they still wanted me to play. I guess that's kind of a, thanks, okay, I'll play. You're going to catch me 65 out of 66 games? Okay, whatever. But it was a great year. We went to Worlds. We went to Canadians. It was my last Canadians, and it happened to be in Winnipeg. We'd never had one in Winnipeg or in Manitoba in our careers. And there's a lot of guys in the room that played forever in Manitoba, never got a chance to play at home. And that was, I walked off the diamond, that was my last day. Thank you to all my teammates over the years, especially the Canadians, where as a 15-year-old, yeah, Albion Hotel Canadians, they didn't check ID. Somebody had to babysit me because they taught me to play the game hard but with class, yeah, and party. That was a special group. Billy Calder's here tonight, Alvin White, as I mentioned, Jim Lehman's here. They taught you how to play the game. They taught you how to work hard. Dave Went was on that team. Brian Pallister. You won't find a guy that worked harder at his game than Pally. Alan Ramsey, who we lost way too early, again, another guy. And then there was Ivor and Garth Asham, who basically really looked after us. There was no getting into trouble if they were around. The Diamonds started in 1986, and playing at home was special. And accomplishing so much for 6 to 7 years at such a high level was special with a local group of guys. It was a lot of fun. To my wife, Lorene, thank you very much. I was leaving almost every weekend. There was probably summers where we played 100 ball games. She did come along sometime, but then she was sitting with 2 little kids at a ballpark and watching me fulfill my dreams to play the sport. Thanks to Greg Bouchard and Brian Rempel. They wrote me great letters of reference. Bouch was a great teammate. Brian, as I said, was a great supporter of the game, and I had a chance to play for his teams. To Larry Dewis and Garth German for considering and putting my name forward for this. I appreciate that. It's a great honor. To the selection committee and the Hall of Fame committee, awesome job. This is a tremendous event, and I'm just honored to be up here. In closing, and this is the end, I look back and I love playing fastball. There's no doubt about it. It took me from coast to coast in Canada and the USA. I have met and made so many great friends. I had a teammate inducted in 2002, the first year, and I had a teammate inducted last year. I don't know, what's that telling me? I think it's telling me 2 things. I was blessed to play with so many great players. I think when I was looking over it, there's 20 players that I played with, not counting the great group that's going in as my team tonight that are already in the hall. And so I was blessed to play with so many great teammates, and they became friends throughout the years. And the other one, apparently, I'm getting old. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Ferdi. One more induction for this go-round, then we'll take a short break and do the rest of the inductions after that. Now, this is our first team that's being inducted tonight. How we'll do this is we'll sort of read their accomplishments. John Mitchell will share a few words about the team, and then we will, after John shares those words, introduce the players very quickly, one at a time. They'll have the opportunity to come up on stage with their plaque, and if you'd like to get a picture of them at that point, you can do that. The Smitty's A2 team going into the Softball Hall of Fame in 2008 at the Canadian Nationals in Winnipeg. Smitty's A2 won gold. In 2009, they won the silver in Kitchener. Competing against the dominating Smitty's Terminators made these championships especially noteworthy. In 2007, Portage's John Mitchell founded the Smitty's women's junior team. In 2008, Sharon Martin and Roy Helensky joined him as coach and manager, intending to lead the A2s to the Canadian Junior A Championships. When Winnipeg was awarded the Canadian Women's Senior A National Championships for 2008, they decided to compete, realizing they would face powerful provincial Senior A teams, including the defending national champion Smitty Terminators. Against all odds, they succeeded. They won 6 successive games in the round robin, and in the championship defeated the Smitty's Terminators 2-1 in 8 innings in the A-side final, and then 3-2 in 12 innings in the gold medal game. They were very good at manufacturing runs with timely singles, strategic base running, stellar defense, and the clutch pitching of Ashley Lands. Ashley pitched all 12 innings in the final and was named top pitcher. 4 players were selected, tournament all-stars. Katie Rossentrader, pitcher Kayla Price, third base. Ashley Lands, top pitcher. Lana Dubois, MVP, medal round. In 2009, they were prepared to defend their gold medal championship at the Nationals in Kitchener. But this time, they won silver. 11 games in 5 days, 5 games during a 24-hour span, steaming 30-degree heat. I think all ball players know that too well. Injuries to their top 2 hitters, an arrested Kitchener team in the finals was simply too much. And given these circumstances, it was still nevertheless another very remarkable achievement. Players sacrificed to make remarkable plays. Ashley Lance pitched 61.3 innings and was selected MVP in the round robin. And Amanda Ryan and Kayla Price were selected to the tournament all-star team. A great run at the highest levels for a very young team, the Smitty's A2 club, John Mitchell representing.
Large font. Thank you very much to Les Newman, Murray Blight, and the entire Softball Hall of Fame committee. And of course, our own Larry Dewis. Thanks for making this happen. Our team had a great run in 2008. Had a great run in the national championships in 2008 and 2009. As I said, gold first, silver the next. One of the interesting points is the dynamics of those two teams and how it changed from year to year. The 2008 team came together from different backgrounds, different organizations, and they truly gelled. We had speed, not everyone. Some of them looked like they were dragging a piano around the diamond. That's my kids. Solid defense, outstanding pitching, clutch hitting, and we limited the errors. Looking back at that season, we were well prepared to compete the Nationals because of the great competition we faced in the province. We played the Lightning team, who had fabulous pitching on a regular basis. And the other Smitty's team, they were absolutely dominant. Great things about team sports is the opportunity for synergies, momentum, and perhaps divine intervention to transcend the collective abilities and skills of the individual players. Magic, lightning in a bottle, however you want to phrase it, when it occurs and you're part of it, it is absolutely fabulous. It doesn't hurt to have a remarkable pitching and timely hitting as well, and both those things we had in that tournament. There were a lot of worthy teams that year, but on that weekend, we were the best. It was pretty special to be able to win that at that time in your home province with your family, friends, and fans there to enjoy the experience. The following year, in 2009, the team headed to Kitchener. Now in Ontario, the teams were able to load up with Division I players, former Olympians, and talented kids from across the province. I mentioned the dynamics had changed. We added a number of players in 2009. Some of those players were former competitors and were now teammates and became real leaders on that team. That year we had a couple of losses in the round robin and then had to work our way through the bottom of the draw. And it was explained earlier, it was 30 degrees and humid, but that team was cool under pressure. These kids have spent a lot of time playing the careers, big games, and it really showed. The ball field in Kitchener was close around the diamond and the beer gardens in the center field. And during the playoffs, when the fans got in the stands and we got rolling, and we had the associate coaches in the beer garden supplied great energy, loud and proud. They even offered the odd strategy from out there. The fans in tight and those booming voices from the beer gardens, it was awesome. 4 straight wins in the playoffs got us to the finals, and we were beat up pretty bad, but you never heard it from the kids. Played through injuries, and once again, running with one pitcher, game after game. The character and grit on that team willed us to that silver medal, a result to be truly proud of. Ball provides the opportunity to cross paths with an eclectic group of individuals. And some of these individuals and the things that they do leave a lasting impression. Evelyn Molinsky had a wonderful gift in letting Roy and I think we had a say in what was going on. We knew who was in charge, we just wanted to make it look like we had a part of the decisions. It's really fabulous the number of players from that 2008 and 2009 teams that went on to coach and continue to pass along their love for the game. We hope that the experiences you guys have coaching are as remarkable as those that you provided for us. Our teams had a good fortune to be involved with two of the most dedicated, caring, and committed people I've ever met in sport. And I'm proud to say that I will be entering the hall with Roy and Evelyn Molinsky. Thanks for bringing me on an incredible ride. I'd asked one of my kids to come and help, but they'd be leaking oil too. In 2009, we lost a member of our team to a tragic accident. No smile could light up a diamond the way Ashley's could. There's a wonderful softball facility in Brandon that is a testament to the passion, skill, and positivity that Ashley Neufeld brought to the game. When you play sports at a high level and have the good fortune to be able to compete at national championships, you understand how difficult it is to win. The success that these young ladies achieved those 2 years is a truly reflection. One of them actually took speech down in my note, I think. The success that these young ladies achieved those 2 years is truly a reflection of their character, skill, and competitiveness, honed over a number of years pursuing excellence in their craft. This honor that you bestowed on them is something they worked very hard to achieve, and they should be very proud of their accomplishment. Tonight has summed up a lot of great memories, and perhaps we can make some more. Thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you, John. Should have mentioned Al Sharp was the one that handed the award to John. So now we're going to introduce the players on that team, and what they can do is get their plaque. They can come up on stage. If you would like to get a photo of them, you can do that, and then they can proceed across the stage and return to their seat, and that'll wrap up the first portion of the inductees. So the players from that team: Sherry Allen, Aaron Enns, now Aaron Audino, Ashley Jaffrey, now Ashley Bresden, Lana Dubois, Chastity Finley, Karine Gautron, Ashley Lands, now Ashley Gilstad, Holly Kitchen. I know they'll end up behind me here, but I'll get out of the way if you want to take a team picture when we're done. Jackie Clift, now Jackie Marcello. Nikki Marcoux. Deanna Mitchell. Represented by her mom Bev, Ashley Neufeld. Jen Penner. Kayla Price. Kayla Mitchell, now Kayla Reckdahl. Nicole Rutledge. Amanda Ryan. Rianne Ryan Verniest. Jen Schreier. Tracy Tesh. Represented by her mom Heather, who drove out from Calgary, Katie Rosentrader, sorry. Cheryl White. And the coaches, Evelyn Molinsky, Roy Molinsky, Sharon Martin, and head coach John Mitchell.